Casper and Dennis here for Submission Radio, proudly brought to you by Musashi. Standing with the man who makes his pay-per-view commentary debut this weekend at UFC 230, Paul Felder. How you doing, man? You must be pretty excited to be making this debut on commentary on a big pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to be making the pay-per-view debut and for it to be at Madison Square Garden, and I get to call Derrick Lewis and Daniel Cormier and some of these legends on the card, Chris Weidman, Jacare. So I mean, the whole card is exciting, and to be here in New York, it's only a couple hours from Philly, so it couldn't be any more perfect, really.
Just out of curiosity, how did you get the call to make your pay-per-view debut? Is this something that's been sort of in a long time in the planning? Did you push for it?
No, not push for it. I made it clear that I would love the chance whenever it came around, and I was actually in Milwaukee, and I was doing some training with Duke and the team, and my producer called me, and he's like, "We got to talk." I was like, "Oh, is it good or bad?" He's like, "Well, I think it's pretty good." And I was supposed to do Moncton. I was supposed to go to Canada and call those fights and then do some later dates. But they switched it up. They're like, "We want to put you on the pay-per-view for 230. Obviously, no-brainer for me. Yes, of course, I wanted to do it. And here we are. And then I'll be doing Denver next week, too. So got a couple back-to-back fight cards coming up for me. So it's good.
And between weigh-ins, you jumped on the scales and showed the media what was going on. Tell us a little bit about the thought process there.
The room had gotten a little quiet. Everybody was kind of just waiting for Derek Brunson to weigh in. So I was like, "Oh, let me get on there." I did it before one other time when I was in, I think, Atlantic City. I got on the scale. I think I was even bigger when I was in Atlantic City. The shirt didn't come off in DC. But, it's just getting some fun in the room and try to make somebody laugh. And I think it worked.
It was awesome because a lot of media here early in the morning trying to stay awake. Tell us a little bit about the fights, your perspective on the main event. Obviously, a lot of people believe DC's going to go in there. A lot of people believe it's going to be very similar to the Anthony Johnson fight where he'll get him down, wrestle and probably finish him with a choke. But from your perspective, what are the pathways for Derrick Lewis to sort of win this one? And what kind of Derrick Lewis do you think we'll see in there? Because it looks like he's in great shape going into this one.
I think he is going to be in the best shape that we've ever seen him, because whenever you go from one fight into the next, you don't lose any of the cardio, you don't lose any of the experience that you had in that last fight. So he just went, and basically what he said is he's just been working on cardio this whole time, because he was already in fight shape. He already had almost a 3-round fight with Volkov, gets the knockout at the end. You just start working on cardio, pushing the pace. So I think we're going to see the best version of him that we've seen, and he seems to be taking in the moment. I mean, he's not one he's used to this spotlight. He's been a heavyweight that's gotten some main events and he's gotten this attention before. I think might be his time, but you got a guy like DC in front of you who's got that wrestling pedigree and the submission skills to get in there. But he took this on short notice too, and he had some hand issues that he was dealing with. So if he does have to stand and trade, how's that hand going to hold up is what I'm most curious about in this fight.
What do you think it would do for the UFC's heavyweight division if Derrick Lewis was to get the big win? Because it'd be a big shake-up. He's a hilarious guy, very unfiltered, known for his Instagram, the open workouts, said a lot of funny, crazy things. Yeah. Possibly a Brock Lesnar-Derrick Lewis fight. What do you think that would sort of look like?
I don't think it does anything bad for the division at all if Derrick Lewis wins. I mean, I think it's going to shake things up, but I think anytime that the UFC gets shaken up, we just see more interesting matchups come out of it. Stipe's still out there, okay? You could see those two match up. You're talking about Brock Lesnar. There's so much stuff that could happen for Derrick Lewis. And the way that this guy talks in front of the camera and the goofy stuff that he says. And he's got over 1 million followers on his Instagram now. I mean, their eyes are on this guy. So I think if he wins, it's only going to push that even further for him. And I think there's so many good fights that could happen in that division. Maybe not Ngannou again after the last one they had. But really, that's the only real blemish that we've seen from Derrick Lewis, where that fight was just kind of a snooze fest. But normally he's a fan favorite for a reason.
We'll let you go in just a moment, but just quickly, you're an amazing striker yourself, so we've got to get your thoughts on Israel Adesanya, a rising star, someone with a big fight on the card, kind of the UFC positioning, a lot of the media around him. He's a big star in New Zealand. What do you make of him, his striking skills, and how far do you think this guy can go in the division?
I think the sky's the limit, and I think this is the test that's going to really show where he goes after this. Derek Brunson's no joke. He's got power, and he's got the wrestling skills. So I think this is the first. Second, Brad Tavares was definitely a test, and he passed that with flying colors. So if he can get through Derek Brunson and look impressive, I think you're looking at a top 5 fight for him after this and really move up the division. He's got the talk, he's got the style, he's got the swag to be a champion, to have that kind of attention. And so if he gets through Saturday night with flying colors, I really think you're going to see a really big fight for Israel after this.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the time, Paul. We liked the weigh-in earlier, and best of luck on your big debut for pay-per-view this coming weekend in Madison Square Garden, of all places.
I know.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.